So hi everyone, welcome to the second chapter of the JavaScript interview preparation course. And today we are going to learn some more topics like maps, filters, reduce, difference between map and for each loops, and question based on these topics. So first of all, I have opened my index.html file with live server. You can open with this, and so let's dive deep into these topics. So first of all, map. So first of all, map, filter, and reduce, these are the array methods in JavaScript. For specifically talking about maps, so map method is used for creating a new array from existing one by applying a function to each one element of the array. For example, let's create an array. Const array is equal to comma 2, comma 3, comma 4, comma 5. Let's say 6. Right. So this is the array, and we are going to apply map method on this array. So how we can do that? So the basic syntax for applying map on any array is arr dot map, and this map method takes a callback function which is applied on every element of the array. So this is the callback function, and inside callback function this take 2-3 parameters. So basically the first parameter is the element itself of the array, the second one is index, the third one is array itself. And now if you want to perform any operation on the elements of the array, you can do like this. For example, if you want to multiply each element of the array by 2, so what you can simply do is you can return element into 2. And since I said that this map method completely returns a new array, so you need to store it in some variable. Const new array is equal to, now if you print this new array, so let's see here the output is printed as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So we actually multiplied every element with 2. Now you must be thinking, then what is the use of this parameter index? So you can, this index is basically the index of these elements, right? So for 1 the index is 0, for 2 the index is 1, for 3 the index is 2. So you can use this in some way if you want, like adding this index to the multiplied element. So what happened is you multiplied 1 with 2 now, and you are adding index of that element, again multiplied 2 with 2 and added the index of that element. So here you can see the new array. So basically what is here is, it's the value is 2, and here the value is 2 into 2 plus 1 is 5. So you can see here in the console that 2, 5, 8, 11, 14 and 17. So this is how you can use the map method on any array. So let me mark it as done. Console. Now there comes the filter. So filter is also the array method, and it also returns the new array, but it filters out the element based on certain conditions. Means, let's take the same example of this array. Let's name it as arr1. Now since it returns new array, we need to store it in some variable. Const array2, and if you are applying filter method on it, its simple syntax is this, and it also takes callback function as its parameter. And again this callback function have some parameters same as the map method, that is element, index, array, and I think there is something else. No, nothing else. So simply what you can provide the condition is, let's say you want to print all the elements which are greater than 2. So simply do this, return element greater than 2. And if you console this new array 2, you can see that we are only getting the elements, array of the elements as 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the new array with elements satisfying the given condition. So this is the filter and nothing much in it. Now let's come to reduce function. So reduce is basically little bit complex than map and filter method. So what it does is it does not return it it may or may not return the new array, but its main function is to reduce the elements of the array to a single value. So for example, if you want to calculate the sum of all the elements of the array, or you want to do something else, so the reduce method is the best method to use that. For example, let's take the same array and name it as era2, and since it returns a reduced value, so we need to also store it in an variable. So let's store it. Let's calculate the sum of elements of this array. So era2 dot reduce, this is the syntax, and in this reduce method takes two parameters. The first parameter is the callback function, and the second parameter is what we call as initial value. For example, let's take it initial values as 0. Now this callback function also takes some parameters as we have discussed in map and filter method. So the first parameter is named as accumulator, or you can name it as anything, it's not necessary. The second parameter is the current element, and third parameter is index, and fourth parameter is the array itself. So if you want to calculate the sum of all the elements, so basically what you have to do is return accumulator ACC plus current element. Now if you print this sum, what you will see that you are getting 21. So let's sum this out. The first 5 element will sum to 15, and 15 plus 6 is 21. So we are getting 21 here. You must be thinking that what is accumulator here? Accumulator means it's basically the result of the previous computation. For example, what you are here doing is, first of all, you are taking 0, the initial value what we have provided here, 0. Now the first element, so this value is equals to 1, and this will be stored into accumulator, right? Now this accumulator plus second value of the element, which is equal to 1 plus 2, and you are giving, and this value is giving us 3, and this is again stored in the accumulator, and again this accumulator plus the current value as 3, that is 3 plus 3 is 6, and again it is getting accumulated or stored in the accumulator variable. So this is how this reduce function works. Let me mark it as done. So now let's talk about the topic that what is the difference between map and for each loop. So map and for each are both the array methods which you can use to iterate over the elements of the array. But one thing I want to show you that for each loop does not return anything. For example, let's take this array err3 dot for each, this takes callback function, and if you return something like 2 into element, and if you are getting the parameter as element, and let's say you are storing this num, and if you want to print num, you will get nothing, because this for each loop does not return anything. And if you want to modify this array, you can use for each loop as, let's say you also get the access of the index here, and let's say ARR of 3 of idx is equal to element into 2. Uh, this is not going to return anything, so you are not getting anything in nums. So basically you will have to print ARR3 to see the result. So what you saw here, this actually modified the existing array. In this way you can use for loop. So this was the difference between, first difference between the map and for each loop, because what difference we saw? That we saw that map returns a new array and for each loop does not return anything. It is used to log the elements of the array or modify the existing array and nothing else. So this was the first difference. The second difference is that map, filter and reduce are chainable methods of array. Means you can use them together as a chain of methods, but you cannot do the same with for each loop. For example, let's comment this out. So if you want to apply the methods like map, filter, and reduce as chain methods, so what you can do is, let's take an example, const. So this is the, first of all, this is the array of objects, right? And inside each object there is variables named as name, role, and marks, and you are going to apply these three methods as a chain method. So let's say you want to find the total marks. Total marks is equal to, first of all, you want to apply this method on a student array. Students dot, let's say you are first applying the map method, and again what you have to provide is the callback method, and inside this method you get the access of each elements of the array. So let's call each object as a student object. You can name it as you want. So first of all, applying some conditions on this student dot marks is less than 60. If the marks is less than 60, then what you perform is student plus is equal to 20. So you perform this operation using map. Now this map will return a new array, return array of a student whose marks is less than 60. So it will return the length, same length of array as this, but the students who have marks less than 60 will get another 20 marks what we are adding here. For example, let's say Syam and Preeti has less marks less than 60, so their marks will be uh, added with 20 and will return a new array. So map will return a new array. Now what you can do is you can apply filter here on the new returned array, filter, and what you can do is here you also need to have the callback function, and let's also call each element of this array as student, and you want to filter out something. So student dot marks is greater than 60. So now you applied this filter. So let's make it a one liner. So let's make it a one liner code. So you get a callback function, and let's name each element as a student. And what you are doing is, so basically you don't need this, and student, if student dot marks is greater than 60, then it will return a new array of students whose marks is greater than 60. Again, when you apply reduce method, so you get the access of the previous computation value here and the current element, and since we don't require any other parameter, so we are not taking them as parameter. So now here you can reduce the value as a single value. So acc plus current dot marks, and you need to provide the initial value. So let's name it as current. Now if you will print total marks, what you will see here, the total marks is 69. So let's see what we have done here. First of all, in this student array, we have applied the map method, and we are actually increasing the value of the marks which are less than 60. So what we will get here is 20. So this map method will return a new array, but the value of these two marks will increase by 20. On that returned array by map, we are applying a filter method. So this filter method, we have provided the condition that just return the students whose marks is greater than 60. So you can see here that when we added 20 here, this value become 55 and this value becomes 75. So excluding this value, all the three values will be returned by the filter method as a new array, and on that array we are actually applying the reduce method, and in that reduce method we are actually adding that marks of the three students. For example, 80 plus 69, 149, and plus 75. Okay, let me check what the value we are getting as greater than 60. Actually, we are getting these two values as sum. Okay, we have done a mistake here. We need to put mark here. Now you will get 224 as value. So this was all about. So actually, what we done here is we got three arrays of marks 80, marks 55, and marks 75. So basically 80 plus 69 plus 75 we are getting as 224. You can calculate it as well. So this was the second difference between for each and the array methods what we have discussed above. Now let's come to the question part. So let me comment these terms first. So let's consider the same array what we have discussed above. So there is an array of students and this array contains multiple objects. Now the first question is return names in uppercase only. So for this purpose, we have to return the names of the students in uppercase only. For this purpose, we can utilize the for each traditional for loop and the map also. So let's apply the for loop first. So the syntax is as for let I is equal to 0, I is less than students dot length and I plus plus. So what you can take it as students of I dot name dot to uppercase. And now if you will print the student array, you can see that the name of the I'm sorry. So basically you have to print this here only. So here you can say that we have printed the name of the student in uppercase only. So this was the one way. Now the second way you can do is using map. So since it returns a new value, we need to store it in let's store it in student variable and students dot map. Here you get the current element and the index also. Now you want to return the name of the students with capital letter. So basically you write the return statement and element dot name dot to uppercase. And if you print the student array, so you will see that we got four names in capital letters only. So these are the two ways which you can answer this question. So these are the basic questions that are asked in the interview. So second question is second question is return name of a student who's scored more than 60. So think about it, which method we will use for this. So for this question, we are going to use the obviously the filter method. So the let so it's also returns new array. Let's student store in this and apply filter method on the student array. Current idx, sorry, idx here. So if you want to return the name of the student who scored more than 60 marks, so basically you need to write the return statement as element dot marks is greater than 60. So basically this statement, what this element is representing, this element is representing each element in this student array, right? Each element in this student array, and each element is basically the object object here. and by dot operator we are actually accessing the marks. So in this way this is working, and if you print this, you can see that we are getting two elements. So basically Pankaj have marks greater than 60 and Ram has marks greater than 60. So this was the way we answered this question. So let's come to another question, that a return name of a student who scored more than 60 and roll less than 15. So basically you can apply this same method as discussed above here. So this will be the same answer for that, but you need to add one more condition here, is that uh, what is the condition, that element dot roll should be greater than 15. So now we are getting only single object. The student is Pankaj, whose roll is 31 and marks is 80. And we can also confirm here is that, yeah, this is right, because marks and roll should both satisfy this condition. So here Syam satisfies the second condition, that roll is greater than 23, but does not satisfy the first condition, that marks should be greater than 60. Here Pankaj satisfying both, that roll is greater than 15 and marks is greater than 80. That's why we are getting a single element. So this was the way to answer this question. Now another question is calculate sum of all the students marks of the student. So this we have seen in the above map method also, or reduce method also. So basically what we can do is we can use the reduce method here on the student array. Let's make apply this reduce method, student dot reduce, and what you get here is a callback function and the initial value. So for if you are accumulating all the values, so you are initializing it with initial value as 0. Now here in parameter, what I had said, that you get the accumulator, the computation of previous value, the current element, index, and the array itself, right? So here we are going to accumulate the value, return acc plus the current element dot marks. So we want to calculate the sum of all the marks, and you need to store it in a variable const total marks. Now just print it out. You can see that we got it as 239 as the total marks of the student. You can confirm here is that 80 plus 16 and 149 plus 35, 3179 plus 5. How much it is? 184. 184 plus 5, 189, and plus 5. Yeah, 90 plus 50. It's 40 minus 1, 239, right? So the answer is true. So these are all the questions that are usually asked in the interview relating to the topics map, filter, and reduce. And so this was all about in this video. Hope you have learned something new. And so if you really like these topics, so if you want to learn some more on these things, so basically what you need to do is just research on these topics. I assure you that you will definitely get something more than what I taught you. So this was all about in this video. So thank you and have a nice day.